Good morning, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here on behalf of Girl Move Academy to talk with you a little bit about one of our innovations that we started this year. And I hope you have seen the video that represents the Changemaker LAB that I will be talking about. But before that, I want to briefly introduce you to Girl Move Academy, especially for those of you that do not know who we are. So we are an academy, a leadership and social entrepreneurship academy for women in Mozambique, and our headquarters are in Nampula, in the north of the country. So we aim to foster and to advance the next generation of women leaders that will be the change makers that the world needs to actually advance our world into the next level. And so that's why we are working in a very intensive way with different layers of girls and women so that we can accomplish that goal. And the Changemaker LAB is one of the initiatives that we developed this year. And this was during, you know, the hottest moments of the COVID times. We are still living it, but when the situation was quite intense in Mozambique, we've decided to do this, and that's why we want to share with you, and we will continue to do so. So first, what is the Changemaker LAB? And the Changemaker LAB is mostly an experimentation lab for ideas and solutions with social impact in local communities. So the process that we went through was to design and implement it, as I have told you, for the first time this year in Nampula, as a pilot program, targeting mostly vulnerable communities. We've developed and implemented 9 innovative and sustainable grassroots solutions that are capable not only to create a systemic, but also an effective change for these communities. And we are talking about the most vulnerable ones. The idea is that we can test it, but we can not also test it, but generate solutions for these communities and for other communities. So the baseline for the Changemaker LAB and some of the main goals, and I will say many things different times because I want to clear out and to pass the message of how powerful this process was. So first, the idea is to test and validate the ideas that are generated for these communities. And the thing is that there is a time pressure. And what does that mean? The idea of testing in a short time, and we did this in a period of 4 months, and this pressure with time, it's because it's very important for these local communities for fast, easy, and most of all, effective solutions that not only will help them generate income, but be sustainable over time. So today, more than ever, we feel that pressure of there is no time, and we actually need to bring up solutions that can be tested quite fast and implemented. And above all, the communities will have the owner of those solutions to continue afterwards. So the other critical thing that is part of the baseline of the Changemaker LAB is that we could not do it if we haven't worked together with different partners. This broader search for local solutions happened together with companies in Mozambique, with communities, the communities where these solutions were implemented. And we also had experts as mentors that have helped along the process. So this is most of all a grassroots approach where the implementers are the people that actually live in these communities and have the urge for these solutions. And of course, by doing so, we are activating local talent that will have the owner for the solutions and then continue after we leave. And that's one of the major goals. How did we do this? And as I've mentioned first, the Girl Move Academy is a leadership academy for women in Mozambique, and yearly we work with close to 40 women that have already graduated. They are top women that we have selected nationally in Mozambique, and that we see them a really high potential for becoming not only change makers, but also to lead and to change their own communities in many different fields. So these are the girls, our girl movers, which are our students in the academy. These are the girls that are actually implementing and running the process together with the partners that I have mentioned. So the first step, the first thing we did, of course, the first thing was dreaming and designing the entire idea of the Changemaker LAB. And then when we started, the first step was to map the challenges and solutions. So these girls actually, together with the companies, had to go to the communities and identify, as I hope you have seen in the video, identify what are the major challenges that these communities are facing, and then search for solutions. We don't need to invent the wheel. We need to come up with solutions that sometimes are already out there, and we might need to adapt them, or sometimes even design or build something new, but it has to be simple, doable, and effective in a short run. So we did this. And then the second step was, of course, to go to the field and validate these solutions together with the communities, because they are the ones who will know if this will work or not, with our girl movers leading the process. And after that, we have designed the prototyping plans. And the third thing we have done was then to test these impact solutions in the field with these communities, also evaluating if it's useful or not, how sustainable can they be, and of course their scalability, not only for these communities, but for others that might have the urge and the need for this type of solution. And at this point, you might be wondering, so what are we talking about? What kind of solutions are these that we are talking about? And I will describe a few of these ideas that we have implemented. And let me tell you, and I hope you have captured that in the video, that one of the basic things that led our work was the SDGs, the Social Development Goals, meaning that we have identified, not only we are aware of what are those social development goals for 2030, not only we are aware of that, as we have mapped the needs in the communities related with several of these goals. And the companies that we partnered to implement the solutions, they are focused also on the SDGs, and they wanted to be part of their strategic plan. So this was part of the process to then work together to implement and to design solutions. So let me give you some examples of the things we have done. So one of the cases, one of the solutions that we tested was with a company called Adicional, and this was in the field of agriculture. And the main idea was to connect small producers with retail in the big city, reducing the amount of layers of mediators. And by doing this, we are not only reducing financial and logistic costs, as we are creating ways for the small producers to actually generate a fair income for what they are doing. So this was one of the projects that we worked on the field. Another project was with the phone company Vodacom, and this was really interesting because along this project, other things happened that were really great to keep the project and to sustain it over time. So we did a market research. This was all about a market research about how to use the phone, mostly to impact women through, for instance, an application that can teach them or support them with knowledge or critical information, for instance, related with maternal, infant, or child health, or related with financial literacy, or even tips for managing businesses. So these are just examples of how can this, and we helped with the market research, most of all. We helped them figure out where are the needs for women that a company like Vodafone can actually meet through an application or through means that they have available. Now, a third case that we have developed was with a company called Endev. And this was an amazing project, and the timing was perfect. So we combined the production of quality face masks through the access to solar energy sewing machines that women have learned to use to generate income. So basically what our girl movers did was they identified who were these women that can actually be trained to use a solar panel sewing machine, and women that were in a great need to generate income for themselves and for their family, and also had the talent to learn a new skill and then have a new source of income through it. So we did this. Now, the amazing thing was that we've done also a partnership with a refugee camp in Nampula, where the masks then were donated to these refugee women that now are selling it to generate income, not only for themselves, but for their families. So the same idea with two different sources of women generating income for themselves and for their families. And this was only possible because of the partnership. And today, these women are still going on. So the partners have the owner over the project, and they are making it work and move on, which is an amazing thing. That's what we believe. Now, other example with another partner, Spot Games, and this is a Portuguese company that gamifies the learning process mostly for kids, not only, but mostly for kids. So we tried 3 different games, 2 of them for our young girls in the Girl Move Academy. Our girls age range from 12 to 15 years old. So 2 of the games that we have designed and tested together with Spot Games for our young girls was we gamified the social developmental goals, the SDGs, with our girls. And the main goal here was to activate in these young girls their change maker potential and skills. So during several challenges, the girls had not only to develop their knowledge about a few of the SDGs, but also activate their local community to be change makers as well as their own. Now, the other game, it was about literacy. So the game was, we gamified the process of advancing mostly the reading skills through a gamification process. So we tested it. The outcomes were amazing during that time. And we have decided to expand this literacy game for all of our 900 girls in the project. And that's what we are doing right now after testing it with 50 girls. So these are just a few examples of all the projects that we have done in the Changemaker Lab. And let me tell you to finish this description of this process is that learning, this is more about what were our learnings with the Changemaker Lab. First of all, we have, and I'm sure you have heard this many, many times, we have to foresee the challenges as an opportunity to do something different, not only for ourselves, but mostly for the people in need. And especially when the COVID crisis started, and the fact that for us that work in Girl Move Academy, but we couldn't leave Portugal to be with our colleagues and with our girl movers and with our academy members in Mozambique. This was a huge challenge. So how can we overcome these obstacles and still meet the needs of the people that need the most? And so the Changemaker Lab was something that we were thinking about it months before, and we've decided to actually advance it because the needs for generating income increased. We are a grassroots academy, and so our focus is in making sure that the solutions that we are generating are effective for the people that are on the field on a daily basis and need to provide and to sustain for their families. And if we do this, we are building our communities from bottom up. And so our girl movers had here a major opportunity to connect not only with the SDGs theoretically, but mostly in a very practical way. So they could see daily the things that they were studying about the needs for the SDGs. And when you go to the field, especially in countries like Mozambique, where these needs are tremendous, it's one of the poorest countries in the world, as you know, and we deal with these realities on a daily basis. And when you go on the field with different eyes, especially with the research eyes and focus on the needs of the people eyes, you will learn how to identify talent, how to identify potential, and you feel the urge to search and to design solutions that will actually make a difference. And this is what we did, of course, with all the protection means that we had to put in place to make it possible. So this was mostly an interaction process of trying and learning from trying and from failing and do it again. So it was quite intense. But we believe in intensive processes. And so this caused not only our girls, but the communities to be much more empowered with the process. And the last thing I would like to share, it's related with the urge that we all feel in the world to reconnect with more sustainable and nature in general for the solutions that our world is needed. And so we are walking that path as well, much more focused in every different fields, in sustainable solutions that will be effective not only for ourselves, but above all for the generations to come. And this is it. I would like to finish with this comment. I hope that what we've shared, or what I've shared here with you about the Changemaker Lab, can inspire you to do different things, especially if you have a grassroots approach like we do. And don't be afraid of trying and testing, and mostly of working together with the communities and companies in a more transversal way, so that together we can actually impact our world for better. Thank you very much.